I think as I replay the game in my mind, I give North Carolina a lot of credit. They made all the plays they needed to make when they needed to make them. And, we weren't able, especially in the first half, to really draw the line and say, hey, we need some consecutive stops here. We need some consecutive scores. Today they played like the team everybody I thought that they were going to be. I thought they were tremendous. We seemed to bring the best out of a lot of people. And for us, the you can say a positive scraping, clawing back into it, but we've got to figure out why we're getting in that position in the first half and even early into the second half.
Question on the right side from Teddy.
Coach, what do you guys need to do to be maybe the best team in the Big Ten, or at least the top 2 team in the Big Ten? What progress do you need to make?
Well, we've got to find an element about us, and just in terms of the focus on every single possession. You look both ways. There was a lot of high-level plays made out there today, and just from the standpoint of a guy elbow above the rim blocking a shot both ways. When that happens against you, you got to pick yourself up, dust yourself off. You got to go back. You got to make the next play. When you're playing in a game of this magnitude, all the little things make a big difference towards the outcome of the game. And we had some plays early on in the game that it doesn't seem like much, but it all adds up. And I think that's the biggest thing we got to try to get our guys to understand is it's possession by possession by possession every time you take the floor.
Just to follow up, are you getting enough from your bigs right now?
I've been saying this all the last couple of weeks. We need more production out of those guys, and it's not, what everyone says, I need touches. Well, there's other things we can do to impact that, and obviously we want to get an inside game established, but there's got to be that element of consistency of knowing what we're going to get at all times.
Question on the third row.
That in the first half, what was Carolina doing offensively? Were they just making shots, or were you guys just not getting out and contesting?
No, they were making shots. A lot of times you try to play the percentages, and they hit early on a couple shots that we have charted every shot that has been made against us, and they made 2 where in the first 10 minutes of the game where there's only been 1 shot made from there all season long. So I'm saying to myself, okay, that's okay. They can't make another one percentage says when they make it on the other side next time down the floor. It's like, But I think that it was the transition, the easier buckets we gave them, and then we had chances to finish and didn't finish. We had some right at the bucket, and their size affects that. There's no doubt about it.
Question in the first row.
That D'Angelo had some good looks, didn't go down. Maybe took a few shots you probably didn't want him to take. 4-17. How do you assess the way he played the game today, and how important obviously is his production for this team's success?
Well, D'Angelo is obviously a pivotal part of what we do, and he had some that really went in and out, and I thought good looks. The great thing about him is he wants to take the shot. He doesn't remember the last shot. He said, "Hey, give me the next one," and I love that about him. I thought overall he had a pretty good command. Unfortunately, shots just didn't fall for him.
Question from the far back row.
Yeah, Coach, you get into a situation like this, and your seniors have played a ton of big games in big environments and different things like that. I looked at halftime. I think the 5 of them had a combined 10 points and 6 rebounds, and were shooting like 10 of 30 or something like that, or very low percentage. They played much better in the second half. Was there a message at halftime that we're leaning on you guys and you need to pick it up, or where are you at, I guess, with that right now?
No, I didn't per se say that. It was more just in lines of the adjustments that we had to make. Like I said, or you said, those guys have been in some big basketball games, but we have to get figured out why we put ourselves in that position. If it's those guys playing better, or whoever it is playing better, those have got to be the things that we've got to collectively do a better job of.
Along the lines of how you got into that hole, seemed some of the possessions resembled at Louisville where guys were trying to put the team on their back and do it all on their own several possessions in a row without working the half-court set. Was that somewhat troubling that they didn't have the patience to work the ball and get the good shot, instead tried to get it to the rim and could never get the ball to the rim?
Well, yeah, definitely, but I think that a lot of that goes to Carolina's defense. I mean, that's one of the best defenses in the country, and you know, you look at the size, you've got to make, you're gonna have to make some tough shots in order to beat those guys, just in terms of their length. You know, we had a couple of possessions where we really moved the basketball and missed open shots, but you gotta stay with it, and you gotta do it the next possession, you gotta do it the next possession, and you know, I think those are things that we have to continue to build on in terms of getting ourselves better and you know, putting ourselves in a better position early on in basketball games.
Teddy, first row.
Coach D'Angelo looks like full of life, energy, all that kind of stuff. What's it like coaching him?
Well, it's a pleasure coaching him because he cares, and you know, D'Angelo wants to win. Most importantly, he wants to be a great player. You know, he's a kid that's very hard on himself, which is a good thing. You know, we need more guys like that know they didn't particularly shoot the ball well or whatever, but you know, chances are he'll probably be in the gym tonight when we get back.
We'll take two final questions, second row, then the first row.
Thad, this was another question on D'Angelo. This was obviously his first game against this type of length. And I don't know if that affected his shooting or not, but what does he have to learn from this game as far as going against those kind of defenders?
Well, you know, I think he's at times maybe shooting the pull-up as opposed to one more dribble, because he has a great mid-range game. You know, when you get in there amongst 6'10", and 6'8", swiping at it, it makes it a little bit more of a challenge. But just maybe the one quick dribble, because he's elusive with the ball, he can get by guys. And but by the same token, you know, he finds guys. We didn't do a great job moving for him when they stepped up, you know, trying to find guys.
Final
And
question.
You've talked about how you've continued to show the Louisville tape, and at times maybe it's been hard between now and then to assess how far you guys have actually come. Now that you've played another team that, you know, is on your level and is on Louisville's level, how do you assess the growth of your team through non-conference? Are you happy with where you guys are standing, you know, just a few days away from Big Ten play?
Yeah, I think that there's obviously issues. I mean, we've got two losses to two really good basketball teams, great basketball teams, and I think to put ourselves in that position, we got to look ourselves in the mirror and say, hey, we're not there yet, which is fine, but we got to look at all the little things that we can do to get better and get that established, and knowing that you know, it's I don't want to say it's early, but it's still December. We got January, February, March still to play basketball. How much better can we get in that time?